Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you this morning. Welcome to the Universalist Church, where love is the spirit. We're glad you're here, whether you're here in the building or anywhere in the world. I'm Gretchen Fountain, a member of the Board of Trustees. If you are an in-person visitor, we hope you'll sign our guest book in the entranceway. If you're online, please visit our webpage, www.westhartforduu.org. to learn more or use the contact page to get onto our electronic mailing list. Our electronic communications are the best way for us to stay connected with all of you, whether you're here or anywhere else. We look forward to helping you become part of this Universalist Church. While we keep moving toward the end of the pandemic, we're going to keep adapting to the moment. We've been live streaming, available for everyone for whatever reason you choose. On site, we're still utilizing masks where there are children present, specifically inviting vaccinated folks into our sanctuary and having our kids and their teachers meet in Fisk Hall until we establish yet another set of changes based on West Hartford's and state health guidelines. Today, we invite you to sing our hymns. Please do sing along with our musicians, but with your masks on. Your voice may be muffled, but we will hear you. And we're singing together, and that's exciting progress. Thank you for your grace as we learn yet another way to be together. After worship, we'll gather for fellowship hour in Fisk Hall for all present here. For those of you in your homes or on your vacation islands, you can join our Zoom fellowship online. And now, I invite you to take a moment to make your phones silent, turn off your email, and settle in for worship.
and happen to have a home chalice, I invite you to please light it with all of us as we light this chalice in our space, our sacred sanctuary together. This morning, as we light this chalice, I want to introduce you to a new word. It's a Cherokee word, and it looks like this. And it is pronounced like this. Ojali Haliga. Want to say that with me? Ojali Haliga. And what that word means in Cherokee is thanksgiving, gratitude. So as we light this chalice, may we hold all our Cherokee sisters and brothers, as well as all our indigenous peoples who celebrate at this time of year, Ojali Haliga, gratitude. For the Cherokee, this is a reminder to celebrate their blessings and reflect on their struggles throughout the year and across this season. So may our chalice flame hold those of us who will miss a family member for the first time this Thanksgiving due to illness, death, or estrangement. And may this light remind us, each of us, that we have moments of brilliance as well as moments of passionate burning that surround us and call us deep within, hopefully moving us toward becoming the beloved community that this chalice symbolizes within us and within the community we serve. Please rise now in body and spirit and sing in the great hymnal, hymn number 349, We Gather Together. And now, the speaker is on. And now, join me, please, in speaking the words of our affirmation, our covenant. It's in your order of worship. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. You have to pardon my sense of humor about technology. It always makes me laugh. Today, the Time for All Ages story is taken from a book called The Thank You Letter by Jane Cabrera. This is the book. And it will be in our library after today's service. Once upon a time, there lived a marvelously creative and imaginative little girl named Grace. Grace lived in a lovely part of her neighborhood, surrounded by trees and squirrels and chipmunks and wonderful neighborhood families. Grace was a planner, and her birthday was coming. So Grace's mom suggested that to prepare for her party, she think about what she might want as presents. As a result of her mom's suggestion, and seeing her birthday highlighted on the calendar every morning when she opened the refrigerator door, Grace decided to write down a list of the items she really wanted. This list included a puppy, a robot, books on how to build a den, sparkling shoes, pens and paints, magic wings, a tent with all kinds of camping things, and of course, lots and lots and lots of chocolates. Grace's big birthday party came, and there was celebrating galore. There were balloons and cake and punch and ice cream and games and laughter and all kinds of excitement. It was a gorgeous fall day, with the sun sparkling through the trees as all Grace's friends gathered around the backyard table and sang happy birthday to her. The following day, Grace's birthday celebration, she got out her new pens and pencils and began writing thank you notes to all who brought her presents. She wrote a special letter to every single person who gave her a gift, even her mom and dad, for organizing this wonderful party she just finished. But Grace was having so much fun writing thank you notes that she didn't stop. She wrote her cat. She wrote the woman who ran the thrift store. She wrote her favorite teacher. She wrote her dog. She wrote the gas station owner. She even wrote the sky. She put the sky thank you on a tree as high as she could reach, so the sky would see it. It read, "Dear sky, thank you for being so blue today. Love from Grace," with a big X next to Grace's name. Grace just kept writing, allowing her imagination to run wild. Soon, thank you notes appeared everywhere in town, and they made every single person who saw and got one very, very happy. So today, each one of you is going to write a thank you note to someone you may wish to thank just because they have made your day or your life more special, or they have provided something wonderful to you that you haven't taken time to thank them for. So in each pew, there are envelopes and cards. And if you don't have enough, there's some in the pew in front of you or the pew behind you. Just take a moment and pick up a card and an envelope, and with the pen, all you have to do right now is write the name of the person you wish to thank you on the envelope. Just write their name. So, does everybody have a thank you note? Okay. Just write their name on the thank you note, and then you can slip the note inside the envelope, and you're going to take that home. And sometime between now and Thanksgiving Day, finish the note, put a stamp on it, and mail it, or give it to the person. You don't necessarily have to go to the mailbox. You can hand it to someone this week. So, I want to show you what happened to Grace. After she shared all the thank you notes with everyone, she went out to her tent that she got for her birthday, and this is what was inside her tent. All kinds of thank you notes from the people she thanked, so that she could always remember that thanking people is really simple, but it makes a huge difference in the neighborhood. So beyond our pledges that support this congregation, our weekly offering is also a spiritual practice for us here. Together, this is our right, and it is our responsibility. It is our privilege and our obligation to one another. We support this place, our religious home, where we may transform ourselves and may often with one another offer love, generosity, and the learning that comes from our gathered wisdom. As part of this practice, we share our general offering each week with organizations that reflect and are in harmony with our values and do the work in the world that brings us all ever closer to becoming the beloved community. This month, we share our offering with the Hartford Gay and Lesbian Health Collective. It was founded in 1983 by volunteer health professionals and supporters and incorporated in 1986. The Hartford Gay and Lesbian Health Collective Incorporated has become an organization with full and part-time staff and over 100 volunteers contributing thousands of hours annually to this effort. This organization serves thousands of people every year. The collective currently provides medical services, dental services, support groups, health education that's not just tailored to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and queer communities. It's an outreach to everyone. But they serve clients of all genders and gender identities, sexual orientations, ages, and ethnicities. They are committed to providing client-centered care where they treat all persons with dignity and respect. So our offering this morning is to support that community that holds us and helps us live out our deepest values. The offering will now be joyfully given. Ushers, please come forward. Please rise if you are willing and able, and open your gray hymnal to number 515. The right side will read the regular print, and the left side will read the italics. Okay, right, left. Okay, right, people. For the sun and the dawn, which we did not create, for the moon and the evening, which we did not make, for food which we plant but cannot grow, for friends and loved ones we have not earned and cannot buy, for this gathered company which welcomes us as we are, from wherever we have come, for all our free churches that keep us human and encourage us in our quest for beauty, truth, and love, for all things which come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves, gifts of life and love and friendship. We lift up our hearts in thanks this day. Please join now in singing our Doxology together. Please be seated. This morning we hold in our thoughts and care as a beloved community the following members of our Fern Street community. Jody G.L., Peggy G.'s daughter, who is recovering from surgery. Jack W. has received great news. He has been given the all clear of his cancer message recently. Let us rejoice with Jack. We also want to extend Cynthia R.'s gratitude for her continued health and enjoyment of walks. It has been a journey truly of deep patience and gentleness with her own body. And please continue to hold Susan P. as she struggles with her cancer. Her daughter Debbie notes contact to her needs to be via cards or email, which Debbie reads to Susan daily. Nationally, let us include all of our transgendered brothers and sisters, as yesterday was their annual, the Transgender Day of Remembrance. This year, there have been 46 known deaths in the U.S. since January 1st. The Human Rights Campaign has officially recorded more violent deaths of transgender and gender nonconforming people this year, more than any year since they began tracking this violence, which was back in 2013. Finally, in support of all the protests across our country, may we focus our energy of love toward working to reform our justice system so that it truly treats all equitably. Please join me now in a time of silence where we can hold these spoken requests and those that are deep within our hearts in this sacred space. And now, with our hearts and voices here and at home, let us join in singing Spirit of Life.
Our first reading is taken from Welcoming the Unwelcome by Pema Chodron. We all have moments of appreciating what we see or taste or smell just as it is. We relax, and out of nowhere, we accept our experience without wanting anything to be more or less or different. We feel that everything, at least for the moment, is complete. When your mind is open and fresh, we see beauty everywhere, including within ourselves. There's a sense of savoring the uniqueness of each moment. Things have never been just the way they are now, nor will they ever be just this way again. We're in tune with the transience of the world, with its poignancy and its profound richness. The idea of appreciating things just as they are is simple and accessible, but it's also very profound. It's the key to feeling warm and loving toward others and toward ourselves. The ability to be open, to experience things freshly, is always present in our mind. One simple approach to building an open mind is to practice noting whatever we appreciate. We can take note of even the most ordinary things, such as the way the light hits someone's face or reflects off the side of a building. It can be the taste of your ordinary lunch with its various shades of sweet, salty, sour, or bitter. It could be a piece of music or a painting, or the way someone moves. It could be a voice you hear. Maybe a stranger has just opened her mouth and you discover to your surprise that she has a beautiful accent. To appreciate people and things this way doesn't take a big effort, but it warms our hearts and makes us feel connected to the world. It's a lot more pleasant than collecting grievances from morning till night, which can easily happen if we just let ourselves go with the momentum of our habits. We can also make a point of appreciating all that we have, recognizing our abilities to see, to hear, to walk, and to listen. Another practice is to pay special attention to strangers you encounter in daily life. When we make an effort to notice people and use our imagination in this way, we begin to feel our sameness to everyone. We all have full lives with our own versions of joy and sorrow, hope and fear. If we take the time to appreciate others in this way, The strangers we encounter become mirrors, showing us our own humanity and vulnerability. Then we can turn the natural warmth that arises toward others into a natural warmth toward ourselves. Talking about appreciating the world just as it is and ourselves just as we are is another practice of appreciation. The wonderful irony about this spiritual journey is that we find it only leads us to become just as we are. The exalted state of enlightenment is nothing more than fully knowing ourselves and our world just as we are. In other words, the ultimate fruition of this path is simply to be fully human. Our second reading comes from an article in the National Education Association, NEA, Today. Every day, every season, we are grateful, writes Tracy Sorrell, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation and author of We Are Grateful, Odyali Eliga, a colorful picture book. The picture book takes readers on a journey through the year with a Cherokee family and their tribal nation as they express thanks for celebrations and moments big and small. Sorrell, who was born and raised in the Cherokee Nation, began writing for children when she noticed a lack of books that feature contemporary Native Americans. NEA Today interviewed Sorrell about her book and the lessons it contains. I share with you today 2 of the questions that are particularly pertinent to today's service. The interviewer asked, why are lessons of gratitude important for young people? Why are they important for all people? Tracy Sorrell answered, for young readers, we are cultivating newer humans, newer citizens of communities and of the world, and it is important for them to recognize that gratitude is a universal value. It may manifest in different ways and be expressed differently, but gratitude is central to maintaining hope, kindness, and connectivity to each other. It's important for people of any age to cultivate a practice of gratitude, because as you get older, gratitude not only helps maintain hope, it staves off depression, which in the United States is a huge problem. Being grateful is as simple as waking up in the morning and having another day to try again. The interviewer then posed this question: how is gratitude taught and demonstrated in the Cherokee culture? Ms. Sorrell answered, the Cherokee culture puts value on balance. We aren't taught just to be grateful for the wonderful things in life, but also the things that challenge us and make us struggle. Through struggle, we learn about balance, and we learn how to restore balance. We know there are seasons for everything, and a life cycle for humans and our animal and plant relatives. Losing a loved one is hard and part of our struggle in life, but we also learn to be grateful for the time we had with them and cherish their memories. Sending a relative off to serve in the military is a challenge, but we learn to be grateful for their service. I appreciate that about our culture. It helps me keep perspective and create and sustain balance in my own life.
This time of year always pulls me back into moments spent walking the trails along the mountainsides in Cherokee, North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina for over 20 years. It's the place I lived the longest in my lifetime. It was this time of year when my former partner, Carla, and I would take the Thanksgiving time break to travel from our end of the Cherokee forest, which our land butted against, and drive to our indigenous brothers and sisters of the Cherokee Nation. We would relish sharing the wonders of the earth that surrounded us on that drive, the waterfalls, the gorgeous trees of orange and yellow and deep red against the deep spruce green of the pines as we wound our way into Cherokee. We would smell the chestnuts, peanuts, and cider that was being heated in small stops along the highway that also held native breads and squash, and fresh honey and jams. We would, as Pima noted in Patrice's reading, appreciate all the moments of what we saw or tasted or smelled just as it was. We experienced a sense of savoring the uniqueness of each moment that we were able to share. We were able to walk in and out of the authentic Cherokee artist shops and talk with the people we had gotten to know by name, people who had been neighbors and family members of Tracy Sorrell. On those days, we were able to have a profound sense of the moments that were unique moments that would never be just that way again. Our history, Carla's and mine, and my personal history in Bakersville, North Carolina, was one of special poignancy and rich awareness of all those who had traveled those mountain trails and experienced the spirit of the mountains. My Thanksgiving days in Cherokee, North Carolina, called me to examine, while attending Sancta Sophia Seminary, the Cherokee Museum in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. As I walked through the entrance to that museum, I was left speechless, wordless, by the full body exhibit of the experience of the Trail of Tears. The exhibit is human-sized statues of the entire Trail of Tears through the interior of that museum. It is astounding and incredible. To this day, standing here, I can feel the tremendous sorrow and the anger I felt as I saw a baby being torn from her mother's arms by a U.S. Department of War soldier. My seminary years were spent in that very city, where our colonial policies as a conquering nation drove our indigenous brothers and sisters from their ancestral homes through over 1,283 miles of overland and mountain trails in waist-high snow during the winter of 1838. Approximately 17,000 Cherokee were forcibly removed during that Trail of Tears. In Tahlequah, the Cherokee records estimate that 6,000 men, women, and children died on that trek from North Carolina to Oklahoma. No one of you sitting in front of me has been forced into the pew you're sitting in this morning. Nor will you be sitting at your Thanksgiving table worrying about being forced from that table into a place you've never been. However, our collective history as a nation is one that cries freedom often without acknowledging the true realities of our land ownership, without spending quality time learning the true history surrounding our Indigenous brothers and sisters, without reaching out and welcoming in those our ancestors separated. Each Thanksgiving, the Thanksgivings we hold sacred, gives us the opportunity to amend this past neglect and to reach out to our Indigenous brothers and sisters and their ancestors. One of the ways here in this congregation that we do that is our Hawkwing community that we support. I encourage you this day to bring in the toys and canned tomatoes that the Hawkwing community has requested. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about this morning, I suggest that you go back to the e-news that was sent out at 4 p.m. on Friday and check out those requests. I also stand before you this day asking each of you, what history, what unique moments do you call forth from your own historical context? What poignant moments call you into the transcendent world of spirit that is truly a sacred part of this season that we know as Thanksgiving? Earlier in our Time for All Ages, you called to mind someone you wish to thank. You wrote their name on an envelope. But you have yet to write your message to them. When you sit down to do the message, think about the moments you did share with that particular person that brought them into your heart and mind this morning. What about them touched you? How did their presence bring out the inner presence in you? This community, our beloved Fern Street community, has folks who work at being that presence for one another. One group is called the caring team, and another is the lay pastoral team. These individuals reach out and touch others among us each and every time they are called upon to do so, by bringing food to them, by visiting them, by just going to see them. However, the members of these groups need to build their memberships. They need you. They need your time. They need your service. They need you to reach out to join their efforts. For the past 2 months, each week, a request has been placed in the weekly e-news for volunteers for those two groups, as well as lots of others in our congregation. And we've received slim responses. This is the season of the year when we emphasize gratitude, generosity, and as Mary Chapin Carpenter song noted, being grateful for each hand we hold, grateful for this sheltered place, grateful for father, mother, daughter, son, neighbor, friend, and friendless, all together, everyone in the gift of loving kindness. A mantra that is part of my Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association is that, quote, we need one another. And oh, how true that has been for all of my colleagues in ministry the past 2 years. My chaplain colleagues have struggled, as has some of you, on what our international media has named the front lines of the pandemic. Needing one another is not exclusive to chaplains or ministers. It's true for each one of us here. Without one another, we would not be sitting here celebrating this Thanksgiving together. Mass, so be it. We're still sitting here. Without one another, we wouldn't have weathered the ups and downs that were embedded in our hours, our days, and months of the pandemic. Without one another, we couldn't delight in the recognition of the unique moment we will have today in Fisk Hall or right here, talking to each other. Without one another, I couldn't be bold like I have been in the sermon this morning and acknowledge the lack of knowledge or misunderstanding surrounding our brothers and sisters of our indigenous nations. Ultimately, without one another, the spirit of love that binds us in the covenant we say every week would be a mute statement. So as we prepare for days with those we love, days with those we cherish, or perhaps days with people we're just getting to know, may we recognize how we cannot go without sending thank you notes everywhere. We cannot breathe without blessing the very breath we've been given. We cannot, as Anne Frank notes on the cover of our worship, think of all the misery, but rather of the glory that remains. Think of the beauty that again and again discharges itself within and without you, and be happy. We cannot leave this service without being deeply grateful. I ask you to volunteer, to fill all the boxes and baskets to overflowing for our sisters and brothers from Afghanistan. Finally, I call you to celebrate the thank yous, large and small, that envelop you as each new day dawns. May each of your Thanksgiving days and week ahead be blessed with laughter, remembrances, and deep gratitude. Ojali, Helija. May your grateful days be endless, and may it be so. Please rise, if you are willing and able, and sing our closing hymn in the turquoise hymnal, number 1010, We Give Thanks. And to end this precious day, may we speak together our unison benediction, which is found in your order of worship. Engage with the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Please join us in Fifth Call.